How I, a guy with no coding skills, made a game in RPG Maker, the player character. Figured I'd go into a bit more detail over this game's development, so let's start with how I created the player. In Night of the Abattoir Man, you play as Michael D'Amato, a college graduate with a bachelor's degree in theater who came to New York to star in his uncle's newest horror movie. Instead, he finds himself in a real-life horror scenario where he's stalked by a 10-foot-tall maniac called the Abattoir Man. When I first started conceiving this game, Michael was just going to be a character with no real personality, a blank slate for the player, much like Gordon Freeman. RPG Maker has this customized character feature that I use to create a placeholder for Michael. Said placeholder would then go on to become the base for Michael's finalized sprite sheet. That portrait I showed in the last video was actually never meant to be the finalized portrait, just something I drew to get the vibe for what I was going for. There were actually some earlier builds I released to the public that used this version of the portrait. I also had to come up with a name for this guy, and I decided to go with Michael. Some might assume it's a reference to Michael Myers of Halloween fame, but actually it's a reference to the Archangel. Strange decision, I am aware. I've had people describe this early version of Michael as soulless. And really, that was the point. Like I said, this guy was never meant to be an actual character. All that changed when I added a funny little feature to my game that ended up giving him a little too much character. Now, when you're in the killer's line of sight, Michael would react with fear. See, in other RPG Maker horror games, take Cow Only for example, when you're being chased by the big scary demon, in-universe the player character is probably freaking out. But in-game, the character sprite remains unchanged, unbothered.
Ah! No, wait! Ah!
I looked at that and said, let me cook. And now, Michael's sprite actually changes to a scared one when he's in the killer's line of sight. Pretty cool and cute. In the sprite, Michael does his cartoony little run with his arms flailing about. Pretty visually distinct from his normal sprite.
He gets scared. He gets all scared. It's kind of cute.
Problem? These things do not fit together anymore. You mean to tell me this brick of a man does this cutesy little run when he's scared? I mean, it's a funny visual, but it doesn't work. So I had two options. Change the scared sprite, or change the whole character design. And if you watched the last video, you know which route I took. The new Michael was far cuter and expressive, giving him a lot more character. I'll go into more detail about this newer Michael on the next part. Thank you for watching, and remember, anyone can make a game, even if you have no skills.